approximately 75,000 Calgarians live within the flood zone, with even more coming from all over the city to work and play near the river valley. Since flooding can happen suddenly and unexpectedly and is extremely costly for homeowners to recover from, it is crucial to be prepared beforehand. Every year, floods in Canada cost governments and individuals billions of dollars. Economic growth is driving development in highest locations, and climate change is projected to increase extreme weather events, which will only leave more people and businesses vulnerable to the impacts of flooding. Without adequate risk reduction measures, experts predict flood costs in Canada could nearly triple by 2030. And considering the southern Alberta floods in 2013 cost $5 billion in damages, the next major flooding event could come with a hefty price tag. A major reason for this inaction comes from a lack of awareness around flood risks. It can leave many homeowners struggling to stay afloat and relying on government financial assistance to adequately recover from a flooding disaster. A 2019 survey shows that in Calgary, about 1/3 of those living in the flood zone are not very concerned about flooding, and 1/5 perceiving their flood risk to be low. This is where my research with the City of Calgary's flood resilience program becomes important. Being a river city, Calgary will always need to prepare for, respond to, and adapt to floods. And while we can't prevent future floods, we can minimize their impacts on our citizens by ensuring homeowners are properly educated on the measures they can take to reduce their own risk and recover more smoothly. My work focused on two aspects of improving Calgary's flood resilience at the property level. The first was understanding the challenges homeowners face with the recent changes in Alberta's disaster recovery program. I discovered homeowners shouldn't solely rely on government assistance when recovering, as Alberta's program only covers uninsurable property damaged by a disaster and is intended as a last resort. Homeowners are highly encouraged to purchase flood insurance if accessible, but sadly, most companies aren't likely to offer it to properties in high flood risk areas. Unfortunately, this creates even more gaps in recovery. The second portion of my work centered around enhancing public education and awareness for flood mitigation and best practices to consider when flood-proofing a home. I also investigated the feasibility of the city developing mitigation support programs. For example, I analyzed subsidy programs from other municipalities that encourage the installation of backwater valves in older homes to reduce their risk of basement flooding. In all, my work will be used to help inform policymakers and advance the next phase of building flood resilience in Calgary at the property level. The Bow and Elbow rivers are an integral part of Calgary's urban landscape. With 75,000 people living within the flood zone, it's everyone's responsibility to be aware of the risks flooding poses to them. Providing sufficient education and support to citizens will improve resiliency and build strong, diverse communities that can quickly recover from a disaster and adapt with the flow of water instead of against it.